Good morning, Junior 4. How are you? Today you will complete the third lesson in Unit 1, Elements Around Us. Okay? As we studied at the previous session, properties of metals and non-metals, we studied the first property, metallic luster, and the second property, electric conduction. Today, we will complete the properties of metals and non-metals. The third property is called malleability. It's called what? Malleability. When we test the samples of different elements such as iron, copper, aluminium, coal, sulfur, and which of these samples can be bent or hammered, which of these samples can't be bent or hammered. Okay? Iron, copper, and aluminium can be bent easily and hammered, malleable and ductile. But coal and sulfur can't be bent and hammered, not malleable or ductile. From this, we know that all metals are malleable, all metals can be bent, while non-metals can't be bent, non-metals not malleable or ductile. Okay, so all metals are malleable, all metals are ductile, while non-metals not malleable, non-metals not ductile. Another property, elements and heat conductivity. When we bring some pairs of different elements such as iron, copper, aluminium, carbon, and sulfur, and at one end of each bar, we will fix a small piece of wax and expose the other end to a flame of a candle. Iron, copper, and aluminium are good conductors of heat because the wax melt, while the wax that stick on the carbon rod doesn't melt because carbon is a bad conductor for heat. Again, here, when we take a piece of wax fixed on iron bar and put it on the flame, near to the flame of the candle, the iron bar will take the heat from the flame of the candle and the wax will melt. When we replace this iron bar by sulfur or carbon, the piece of wax doesn't melt. We know from this that the metals or iron and copper are good conductors of heat, and the non-metals like sulfur and carbon bad conductors of heat. All metals are good conductors of heat, but all non-metals are bad conductors of heat. Again, all metals good conductors of heat, all non-metals bad conductors of heat. Okay? Elements and melting point. When we want to melt a piece of iron, it takes a long time to be melted to change it from the solid state to the liquid state. When we take a piece of aluminium and try to melt it, it takes a long time. It needs a high temperature to change it from the solid state to the liquid state. But when we take sulfur, it melted faster. It changes it from the solid state to the liquid state faster. So we know from this point that all metals have high melting points, but all non-metals have low melting points. From here we know that all metals have high melting point, while non-metals low melting points. And by same way, all metals have high boiling point, all non-metals have low boiling point. Again, all metals have high melting point, all metals have high boiling point, all non-metals have low melting point, all non-metals have low boiling points. Okay? Most important question in this lesson, give reason coal and sulfur aren't shiny but iron and copper are shiny, because coal and sulfur are non-metals but iron and copper are metals. The handles of the cooking pots are made of wood or plastic, because wood and plastic are bad conductors of heat. They are non-metals. The lamp light in presence of iron, nail, copper wire or aluminium, and don't light in presence of sulfur because iron, nail, copper, aluminium are metals, good conductors of electricity, while sulfur non-metal, which is bad conductor for electricity. Electric wires are made of copper or aluminium because aluminium, copper are good conductors of electricity. So we made electric wires from it because we want something which is good conductor for electricity. Carbon is a non-metal, although it's used in a dry cell because it's good conductor for electricity. Okay, it's not metal, but it's good conductor for electricity, so we can make dry cell battery. By the meaning of battery, we can make battery from carbon because it's not metal, but it's good conductor for electricity.